So before we put this on the sawmill, we need to get rid of these little knots right here, or limbs rather, that was coming off this tree. And here's the reason why. This one is not really a big deal, but this one right here could cause some headaches. When this log comes up on these loading arms and it rolls, this little sharp corner on this limb right here could puncture that tire. I've seen it happen before. It's never happened to me, but I've seen other videos and other posts guys put on the forum, and it shows stuff like this happening. So you want to make sure on these knots, if you leave them on there, that they're not lined up with your tire. Let's go ahead and load this log and take a better look at it. Looks like a pretty good one. All right, friends, here's something different, some white pine. I've not sawed any pine in probably 4 or 5 months. It's been a while. This is an 8-footer. This is actually a pine that came in on that load in the last video that the tree guy brought over. And it's got a few knot clusters. It looks like every 2 feet, but they're pretty small. They're only about 3 inches, so that ain't too bad. I've seen a whole lot worse with white pine. Other than these small knots, it's not too bad of a log. I've seen a whole lot worse. My dad called this morning and he needs some 2x4s, so that's what we're going to do with this pine. Now this will be actual thickness 2x4s, 2 inches by 4 inches, not the nominal stuff that you see at Lowe's and Home Depot. So if you're ever around a sawmill and you're making an order and you want actual size, that means you get the full 8/4 by 16/4 as far as the 2x4 goes. If you say nominal size, they'll cut them like you did at the big box store. So I always say actual size, unless you just want a thinner board. I like the thicker stuff myself. Over on the sawmill, we've got a Maine Silvertip Turbo 7. Now this blade has been on the sawmill for a pretty good while. And I would say after this log is finished, that blade will be finished and ready for resharp, but we'll probably be able to get this log done as long as we don't have any problems. Now if you want to try those blades out, that's the Silvertip Turbo 7 I got on there. Give Joe a phone call. His cell phone number is down in the video description. I'm also running some of the windshield washer fluid and the cotton gin lubricant in my tank. But since this is pine and the sap is up this time of year, so it's going to have a lot of pitch on this, you guys will probably see me walk over here to the blade several times and use my handy little squirt bottle that's full of diesel. And a lot of you guys out there don't want to run diesel, and I feel your pain because it does get all over you as far as your clothes go. That's the main reason I quit running it, was because my wife got tired of my laundry having diesel on it, and I got tired of the smell also. It don't affect the lumber. You know, it evaporates off these boards almost instantly. It don't affect your blade wheels, in my opinion. Some people say the belts on your blade wheels will have a lot of wear and tear because of diesel. I've never experienced that, but I could be wrong about it. So here's what I like to do is I like to keep a squirt bottle on hand, and regardless of what I'm sawing, if this is poplar, oak, walnut, cedar, whatever, on the first cut, I'll walk down here and I will squirt down the blade guide rollers and the blade with diesel just to get them going. It kind of gets the pitch that's built up on the blade by sitting on it overnight if it's not a new blade. It also cleans up the blade guide rollers really good. What in the world's that? Huh. Another cat. Cats show up here all the time. I guess they talk about the free food I give out to cats. Never seen that one before. So anyways, if you run a sawmill, it's not a bad idea to keep a little bottle of diesel around for that purpose. But you guys do what you want to do. That's just how I run things here at my mill. All right, friends, welcome to a new segment here in my video called Why Did You Do It Like That? When I pretty much explain why I did something the way I do. So let me explain what I'm getting ready to do and why I'm going to do it like that. Man, that's confusing. I need to think up of another way to call this segment something different. I'm pretty confused also. Let me start all over. I'm going to explain my next few cuts before I make them and why I do it like the way I do it. Maybe that sounds better. I don't know. All right, guys, we got it squared up pretty good, and I got my sawmill set on pattern mode, which means it's going to come down through here and make a cut every 2 inches, and it's also going to include the kerf, which is the width of the blade, which is the amount of material that is removed by the blade when you do make your cut, and you're left with 2 inches or 1/4. And the pattern mode's pretty neat because it will come down through here if you program it correctly, and it will leave you with a 2-inch cut on every single board, including the bottom cut. So here's what I want to explain though as far as this log goes, and you guys have seen me do this in the past and people ask me why. So we're going to come down and probably make about 2 cuts, discard both of those pieces of lumber, and then we're going to flip it over 180, and here's why. So right now this cant has a lot of wane on all the corners. Wane is bark. Right there you can see some bark on that corner. There's some over there. And there's also some right there on the bottom. And since we don't have a nice square corner here on the bottom, I have to leave my bat stops up when I'm cutting because I cannot rely on this bottom stop right here that's a fit stop, because it's not even hitting the timber right there. There's about a 1-inch gap right there. And that's okay, because if I would have squared this up, I would have had a lot more waste. And this way you do get more lumber out of the log. So what I'll do, like I was saying, I'll make 2 cuts. I could even do 3 or 4, it really don't matter. I'll probably do at least 2. Throw those off, we'll flip it 180, and then we'll have a nice square corner right here to clamp on the very bottom. That way we can continue with our cuts all the way down, and we don't have to use the bat stops to clamp the log. We will rely solely on this fit stop right here on the bottom that's out of the way of the sawmill. And sorry about the lighting in here. I got 2 lights that went out the other day. Crap, that one over there's out too. We got 3 lights that are out, and the other ones are kind of messing with the camera lens, I guess. It kind of goes in and out. You guys pulling that out in the last video, it doesn't look too good. I need to buy some more lights, I guess. I tell you what, it's always something. It's either a camera, a memory card, or lights for the shop. I tell you what, money always going out the door. you.